Hello and happy Canada Day, and welcome to Lefty's Workshop. Today we're going to be talking about Canadiana in the workshop. You may all remember my very nice 15-inch gray Canada half-inch drive ratchet that I restored on the channel a few months back. Gray tools as a whole are very hard to find in the United States, oddly enough. I can find parts for my German-made tools easy and get them here in a week. If I wanted to get a new drive part for this, not possible. I don't know why, but Gray makes a great product. This did very well, removing some heavy bolts on my truck a few weeks ago, and they make a whole line of tools. As I said in a previous video, they are kind of like the Canadian version of Snap-on, very high quality, very expensive for the newer stuff, but you cannot get the newer stuff in the States, sadly enough. They make wrenches and things like that. If you want them in the States, you're gonna have to go on eBay, which is where I found this, or when you go to Canada, buy it. Next up, when you're working in the shop, you might get a little hungry, and this Canadian-made treat is just the ticket. It is Coffee Crisp. These are not made in the United States. It says it very clearly somewhere on it. Right there. A product of Canada. People have described this to me that I've given it to as like a giant Kit Kat that tastes kind of like coffee. I don't really know, but I think it's delicious. Coffee Crisp. Look at that. Wait for your goodness. Whilst you're eating that Coffee Crisp and working on your projects, you might want to drink some nice Tim Hortons coffee. It's delicious. And of course, you may need to open a box or cut something. And you could use my very nice Canadian Army jackknife. These knives were produced in Canada from about World War I through the 1970s. And I find it excellent. I bought this at a World War II reenactment. There was one guy there reenacting a Canadian soldier, and he was wicked nice. And while other reenactors were selling like $200 bayonets off of M16s and Garands and stuff, this guy sold this for like 20 bucks. So I bought it. It has this, which is called a Marlin spike. They say it's for tying and untying knots. Now, I have used it for tying knots. Or I'm sorry, untying knots. Tying knots, I haven't really figured that aspect out yet. Or, if it was World War II, you could just kill Nazis. This part is a can opener. This is how it works. Take your can. This can is not a product of Canada. Take it on the edge. And see that little rod right there? You put that at the outside of the can. Stick it in there. And that rod is going to rock on the outer edge of the can. And you just keep prying it up. You're going to go around the whole dang thing and, like that. And you open up the can. And now I'm going to have some Goya beans for lunch that I didn't really want, but I had to open a can. And then my favorite part of the knife, the business end, is the blade. It stays sharp really long. I don't exactly know what its metal composition is. I do like how it's not pointy. Other knives are pointy, and you could accidentally poke yourself with them and hurt yourself when you take them out of your pocket if they open up. But this, not so pointy. Very sharp, almost like a razor in length. I like the length of it. It's good for carving sticks or opening up things. This knife was produced by a subsidiary of Case & Company in Nova Scotia. This particular model was made in 1948 for Canadian soldiers in the Korean War. And it was owned by a guy named Roger Nedelec. I'm guessing that's his service number. Pretty cool piece of history. Very useful. Now, many of you may not know this, but if you need to sand something, most of the sandpaper that you're going to buy is made in Canada. I have here some 400, I have here some 120, all made in Canada. Pretty interesting. I do have to say on a side note, this doesn't have anything to do with the workshop, but Canada's money is just so much more cooler than America's. Come on. They got hockey on the back. They're in different colors. The newer stuff has like a clear window. Come on, America. Get on your money game. Another interesting thing is my truck. This vehicle was built, well, between US and Canadian products, 65% of it. Now, I know that the bumper was built in Canada, and that's pretty cool. Next, we have up here, if you need to measure something, what are you going to do? Well, in Canada, their tape measures have both metric and standard, which is pretty cool. I find metric a lot easier to use. I know us Americans don't use it in our everyday lives, but it's nice to have. So, a metric and standard tape measure. Now, what does every workshop need that nobody really thinks about? That's right, a bucket, but not just any bucket. One made and sold by Crappy Tire. This particular one is holding many parts of a cut-up MGB transmission that I'm going to melt soon. And then finally, after your long, hard day is over, what do you want to do? You want to sit down, drink a beer, and stare at the product you just finished. Well, after I finish editing this video, I'm going to watch it and drink myself a nice Moosehead, the only remaining fully Canadian beer company. Yummy. So grab yourself a Moosehead or a Molson or even a Labatt Blue and celebrate 158 years of Canada. Cheers, elbows up.